This is R2D Tech and we're back again with another video today, this time about the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 2, so stay tuned. So Samsung have basically made improvements over the last two generations in basically every way on this phone. They've improved the specs, the design, the hinge, the cameras, and without much competition anymore from Huawei, which was basically the only other company that could produce a good foldable phone. This is looking like a really exciting option this year. So the phone does come in two colors this year, either black or bronze. Those are the same options you get on the Note 20 series, so that's good. The first thing you notice when you probably pick up the phone is that the front display has been made much larger. It actually takes up the whole front of the phone now, whereas on the original Fold you basically got a tiny display which was quite awkward. On the original Z Fold you got this tiny display in the top right corner which was barely a display. So this year the front display is actually going to be 6.2 inches. It's probably going to be a 60 hertz panel. It's going to have a hole punch camera in the middle for the selfie camera, and it is also going to be made out of Gorilla Glass, so it is going to be strong, at least the front display is. Now, when you open up the phone, you're going to get a massive 7.6 inch display, which is basically tablet size. It's going to be a 120 hertz panel, which is really nice to see. It will also have a hole punch selfie camera on the right side. However, unfortunately, it does look like it will still be the same really thin, flexible plastic that we got on the Z Fold, which definitely wasn't very durable and definitely will crack if you apply any pressure to it. That's kind of really unfortunate. I was really hoping that Samsung would have improved the durability of the secondary display, but unfortunately it doesn't look like they really have done it. It also probably would have been nice to see the front display as 120 hertz as well, just to add to the continuity of using both displays. So let's move on to the hinge now, and this is an area where Samsung said they have improved as well. It's going to be a similar mechanism to the one on the original Z Fold, with bristles and smaller gaps to help stop dirt getting in. And like on the Z Fold, you can have the phone open in basically any position because of that hinge design, which is also a really good thing. In terms of cameras, you are going to be getting three rear-facing cameras, and while we don't know exactly what they are, if it's similar to the Note series, you're going to be getting a ultra-wide, a wide, and a telephoto lens. Now, for selfie cameras, you're actually going to be getting two, one on the front display and one on the inner display. In my opinion, having one on the inner display is kind of unnecessary. I would have thought you would have just had one on the front outer display. However, you do get it if you want to use it. I also imagine that the cameras will be of a similar quality to the Note series, so probably not quite as good as the iPhones or the Pixels, but really good all the same. Now, we don't know much about the specs, however, again, if it's going to be anything like the Note series, we're probably going to be seeing a Snapdragon 865 Plus, around 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is crazy, between 128 and 512 gigs of internal storage, which is also expandable with an SD card slot, and then a pretty massive 4500 milliamp hour battery. Now, that battery does sound pretty large, however, you've got to remember it's going to be powering a pretty massive 7.6 inch display when the phone is unfolded, so it will be interesting to see how long that battery does actually last. Looking around the phone, it is going to be charging over USB-C, and it should be 45 watt fast charging if it's anything like the Note series. You're not getting a 3.5mm headphone jack, unfortunately, which is to be expected in 2020. And also, the power button does double as a fingerprint reader, which we also saw on the original Galaxy Fold. In terms of the software, it is going to be running Android 10 out of the box with the One UI 2 skin over the top from Samsung. And obviously, it will have added features for multitasking because of that foldable display. And if it's anything like the original Galaxy Fold, then it's going to be really impressive. The continuity between the front display and the inner display was really impressive on the original, and I can only imagine that it's been improved since then. So it's going to be really exciting to see what features they've added. We should know more about that in September when the official launch is. So let's talk about probably what is the largest downside of getting this phone, and that's the price. So the original Fold sold for just under £2,000, and I can only imagine that this phone is going to be more expensive. If you're looking to get one, I highly recommend waiting until reviewers can get their hands on some to test out the durability. Now, I would also say that for £2,000, there is still kind of no use case for a phone like this. While the technology is really incredible, all we're really getting now is a larger display that can fold out into an even larger one. Now, while that might be really convenient for looking at content, whatever it is, reading or watching a movie, it's not really a massive advantage over other phones. I was really hoping that this year Samsung would add a stylus like they did on the Note series. However, I imagine that really wasn't possible because of the durability of that display. A stylus would have made drawing and taking notes really useful because you would have basically a tablet for note taking in your pocket, which would have been really incredible. However, I understand that Samsung couldn't do that this year. It seems like that display is really holding everything back. Hopefully next year Samsung will have a much more durable display so that we can actually use a stylus, which would open up so many possibilities for so many people. However, this year we're still unfortunately stuck with that fragile display, which is why I think this phone still isn't ready for the mass market. That's it from this video. If you liked it, please press the thumbs up button. If you loved it, please consider subscribing.